Hello, everybody, and here we are. Finally, it's ironic. We were discussing that we are about to talk about our love for technology, Martin, and we had a technological glitch.
Well, I'll have to be very honest. It was not a technological glitch. You guys were already. It's a human error, and that error is called Martijn van Veen. I somehow had my timings wrong, and
Oh,
I
that's
do
good.
apologize for that.
That's not a problem at all. These things happen. I think in our industry, we are so. I was explaining to my husband before we started this live broadcast. And obviously, when somebody is used to working in one time zone, it's so easy to set up meetings, whether they are online or face to face. But in our industry, when we are setting meetings with people all over the world, it is something completely different. So I'm very sure that whoever is watching us at the moment will completely understand. If they are going to watch us once the live broadcast has finished, then we've just revealed that we started our broadcast late.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's true.
no matter how late we started, I think we're about to start talking about a very important topic, something which is very close to your heart, Martin. Everybody knows you as the Chief Business Development Officer of ICEF Digital. So, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about you? How did you start ICEF Digital? Where the idea came from?
Yeah, good question. So, as many things, it actually started during the pandemic because I had indeed joined ICEF as initially as VP of Business Development, very much to look at the whole area of work and travel and how we can further grow that area of our events and our focus worldwide. And of course, we're still active in that space. But when the pandemic hit, and I had just joined ISA for about half a year or so, we were like, oh God, like everyone, like, what do we do now? We have to go online. And we just realized that there was not just a very important shift to the world of online learning, but also a, let's say, larger appetite or better understanding of the need for digital and technological solutions, not just in the education space, but also in the whole student recruitment process. And I just decided that I'm just going to try and talk to as many of these digital startups and technological solution providers as possible, also for myself and for ISEF, to learn what is it that they really do, how does that relate to our industry, how is that relevant to agents. Very much also from an angle that we felt there was a lot of misunderstanding or misconceptions of, as I always call it, fear of the unknown,
Yes.
fear of innovations that would replace agents or replace recruitment professionals, or fear of AI innovations that take away some of the stuff that we are currently doing. So by diving into that, I also realized that if anyone should set up a welcoming marketplace where the providers of these solutions can meet with the recruitment professionals, well, then it has to be ICEF, because ICEF is the place to go when you, as an institution, want to increase your strategic recruitment success, when you want to increase your numbers, your diversification. So at ICEF, you can find the people that can help you do that. And those people are predominantly, of course, humans,
Human beings, of
consultants.
course.
Yeah, you and me, the study abroad specialists. And then around that, there is like a whole scope of solution innovations that can also help in various areas. Help, support, not replace, right? So,
And in fact, I'm going to stop you
yeah,
for a second because this is something that obviously I'm going to ask you about. Um, More specifically from an agent's perspective, because I know that perhaps they are the ones who are a little bit more afraid, or maybe not just a little bit, but more afraid of this change. But we will definitely get to that, so be
yeah,
prepared because I'm going to ask you about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And outside of, of ICEF Digital, would you consider yourself as being a person, is Martin somebody who's very fond of technology? Is technology part and parcel of your life outside of work as well?
I like my gadgets, but that's where it starts and that's where it ends. I like to use them. I'm not a technological expert at all, and that is another lesson I've actually learned. I had that same fear of the unknown when I
Mm,
started to talk to these companies. I felt really stupid uh, but I just asked them, so what does it do? How can you use it? And I realized that I don't need to understand their technology at all. I need to understand what that technology can do. There
Mm,
are professionals, technological professionals, doing that for us. I've never been a technological
yeah,
expert. I don't think anyone in our industry needs to be, but you need to
exactly.
learn about the innovations that these technological experts develop for us. I always use this as an example. I don't know how that all works inside. It's magic for me, an iPhone
Yeah.
or a smartphone or this computer or this call. But we're using, I don't know what this is
We're
called,
using Be Live. It's called
Be
Be
Live.
Live. Hmm.
So I don't know how it works. Do you? But you know how to make it work.
Exactly, exactly. I know what button to press for us to
Yeah.
go live, and that's all I need to know. But
Press the right
it's
button.
also it's also a question of, and I think you mentioned the pandemic, and I think one of the main lessons that the industry took from the pandemic, or those who perhaps handled the pandemic more intelligently once the panic was over,
Yeah.
were people who learned to trust the professionals. This was like when, when we all said, people are going to go and work from home, we can't be in the office, but can you trust the people to work from home? And the question I remember asking a lot of companies was, what alternative do you have?
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
don't have an alternative, then you might as well just trust the process and learn about it and embrace it, which is another word I'm going to use later
Yeah.
on.
Embracing is a very good example, and it's just getting out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and create a new comfort zone. And that is simply by starting to use it, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, and talk to your peers and your colleagues and your partners, or maybe some competitors. Attend events like ours, of course, to learn about these things and how they are used to your advantage. And that's why we find it very important also at ICEF Digital in this case to not so much talk about all these innovations, and we really tried very hard to talk with the innovators. So the people who have helped develop these solutions and innovations, whether it's in digital marketing, artificial intelligence, chatbots, digital testing, screening, you name it. It's good to hear what was the process that led them to developing a specific solution or a specific goal. If they take us along that journey, then we start to comprehend why they made it, how it aligns with our recruitment processes, and how we can use it. And suddenly it becomes really, really exciting. It's like when you have a new, let's say, related to your kids, and they're just playing games.
Hmm.
They play it,
Hmm.
to find out which switches to use, which levels, but suddenly they can win things, and they are
Yeah.
championing things. It's very similar. Suddenly
Hmm.
we can save time. Suddenly we can save
Yeah.
cost. Suddenly we're faster. Suddenly we are able to respond to that student.
Mm.
Suddenly we are able to always give the right answers, and then it gets really exciting. And we're still doing what we're supposed
Exactly.
to do, right? Being at the center.
And
So
that's exactly what I was going to say. In fact, at the end of the day, it's all about making the students' experience,
yeah,
a relevant one, a valuable one. And if there are ways which can enable our students to have a better customer journey, because at the end of the day, it is all about the customer journey,
yeah,
then why not use it? Which brings me to my next point. You mentioned obviously the event. We are here to talk about ICEF Digital and what happened at ICEF Digital this year. If you could summarize, Martin, ICEF Digital 2023 in a phrase, it's almost 6 o'clock in the evening. I won't say one word. In a phrase, how would you summarize it?
ICEF Digital is your window to the enhancement of the student recruitment process through digital and AI solutions. I guess that's maybe a bit philosophical. I don't know,
Hmm.
but it's because the word I really love that came back in almost every session is enhancing the
Enhance.
student recruitment journey, and I thought that was a very good description.
Hmm.
So actually, I would give you one word: enhance.
Enhance. There you go. There you go. Well done, you. And who, if we can kind of look back at what happened, I mean, a few weeks ago now, who attended ICEF Digital this year?
Yeah,
Schools, agents, what kinds of schools? Is it
yeah,
just, universities? Is ICEF
yeah,
Digital open to everyone? Who
yeah.
attended this year?
Well, obviously schools and agents, and then schools and agents and service providers. Now, initially the goal was to give this opportunity, or to provide this opportunity to our existing network, and that existing network is always a group of roughly a group of three. The first group is, let's say, the education providers, that is ranging from language to higher education and beyond, and anything in between, whether online, on-site, hybrid. second group would then what we tend to call either the student recruit marketing specialists, so the agencies, the education consultants from all over the world. And the third group is indeed what we call the service providers, any company that's directly or indirectly related to our industry. But what we've done this time, and what we've seen also in the audience statistics, is that about 1 out of 3 participants has never been to an ICEF event before, because the people that tend to attend an ICEF event are there to then have these one-to-one meetings with the recruiting professionals. But if your focus and your remit is completely dedicated to streamlining the recruitment process or marketing, then you're not necessarily there to meet the agents or the educators, but you do want to come to learn about these innovations that exist. And that's where we have a strategic objective, and also in the area of business development, to be that broader marketplace for the international education sector, going beyond just the schools and the agents, who will, of course, always remain the core of anything that we do.
And this is something that I heard a lot during the event. People were trying to reassure, but obviously in a realistic way, that yes, the human being will always remain at the core of everything we do. And obviously, one of the things that I could notice at the event is that some agents, especially, felt a little bit threatened, if I can use that word, perhaps by this whole revolution of AI.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this?
Well, if they're feeling threatened coming out of the event, and then we did our job wrong. But the idea is indeed that if they feel threatened, and many of us feel threatened, because I still see every day innovations or LinkedIn posts. I'm like, oh God, I need to keep on track because I'm missing out. But the intention has really been, as I mentioned earlier, to change that fear of the unknown into the comfort of understanding. But that's not where it ends. Then you need to go to the next level, the excitement of the opportunity. Because we want people to come out of this event saying, now I get it. I know where I need to focus on. I know who I need to talk to. I want to start using these tools, and I feel reassured, because the main thing that a lot of people say in response to people fearing about their job is that AI will not take their jobs, but someone using AI will. And you can make that comparison when when the personal computer, a long time ago, but the personal computer came up. That was very new, but computers never replaced people. We started using those computers for our advantage. So you could say that anyone starting to use a computer replaced the person using a typewriter, right? So you want to be that person using AI, using digital. And to find out how, then you come to, of course, ICEF Digital. I have to
Exactly. And
mention that.
now 2024.
And that
But obviously, between now and ICEF Digital 2024, we are going to keep, obviously, our followers updated with all the trends. And another question that I got asked a lot after the event by people who did not attend, so perhaps it's a good question to address over here. Is ICEF Digital only AI?
No. AI is really the buzzword of the moment, right? It's funny how we had some AI topics in ICEF Digital in 2022, but it's you could say that any digital innovation needs to have some level of AI in it. But this is about, how can I best describe it? The ICEF Digital is about the student recruitment process, going from let's say digital marketing to the digital applications, to digital enrollment, to digital testing, any digital and AI powered tool that is available across the student recruitment journey. So even though it's digital solutions for international education professionals, we don't touch the education topic that much, only if it's relevant to our industry, like micro credentials or like online pathway programs, if it's relevant for our industry, which is also one of the reasons that we set up ICEF Digital. I've been to these big edtech conferences. They're huge, and there's so much about education technologies. That is something that, as a student recruitment professional, you're not really focused on education. You're focused on getting people.
Perhaps more the academic side that would be focused on that.
Yeah, and that was missing. There's digital marketing conference, you got your digital education conference, you got your edtech conferences, but we bring together those digital solutions that are relevant to our industry. So that is indeed the recruitment funnel, from digital marketing to digital engagement and digital testing and anything in between, the enrollment, admissions. but also think of digital booking platforms for student accommodation, fintech solutions, new
Yeah. Yeah.
student credit solutions that are AI powered once again. So AI,
Exactly.
back to your question, AI is everywhere.
Hmm.
It probably should be everywhere. It's very, very useful tool, but it's everywhere in the different solutions that exist for
Exactly.
our industry.
For the industry, exactly. And it's also the way I see it. I mean, you said it's the buzzword. I think it goes beyond that. It's the trend at the moment, and everybody is kind of finding a way to stay tuned, to stay
Yeah,
up to date with this trend. And obviously you guys are providing the platform, and you are enabling people who perhaps still need to learn
yeah,
about these digital tools. Now today it's AI, perhaps next year or in 2 years time it might be something that we haven't even dreamt of. But it's a
yeah.
way, it's a platform to enable people to learn about these trends, which otherwise could be scary for them.
Yeah. It's more than a trend. It's like computers may have started as a trend, but they're still here. Internet started
Exactly.
as a big hype trend,
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
here, right? So this is the next evolution that is not just very prominent in our industry, but worldwide in our daily lives, professional lives, and especially our next generations.
Exactly, exactly. So to start concluding, and since today the focus was mainly going to be on agents and this idea that perhaps they feel scared, or I use the word threatened by, but maybe it's definitely outside of their comfort zone. Let's put it that way. From perhaps what was discussed at ICEF Digital this year, what tips can you give the agents who are in there, apart from obviously come to the one next year,
Right.
to help them embrace this idea of AI in their lives and in their work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Of course, the agents who are watching now, I think, already deserve a compliment for being interested in what's going on here, to be interested in the evolutions that is happening, the digital transformation that is happening. Now, the thing is, of course, that every agent and every educator and every professional within the agency and within the education provider has a different set of needs and objectives and goals, right? But the main topic is really that you'll probably be faced with a lot of a lot of different innovations, tools, and solutions. And when you come across them, they look slick or exciting or impressive or overwhelming or frightening. But before you start looking for innovations that you think you might need, you need to define first along your recruitment funnel, where do you struggle most? What is your biggest need? Are you struggling with your time management? Are you struggling with your data management? Are you struggling with your marketing? Right? Start with yourself. And then when you identify areas where you feel like, well, I'm wasting a lot of time on data processing. I'm wasting a lot of time on personalizing my messages to prospective international students. I'm wasting a lot of time finding the right partners, and so on and so forth. Once you identify your weaker spots, and you can also identify by talking with your peers and your colleagues and your partners, compare, then go and onto the market and find solutions for the problems that you're dealing with, right? Don't let anyone create a problem that is not there. Don't buy a CRM system that doesn't match your needs. Don't go for a digital
Exactly.
marketing campaign that is maybe totally irrelevant for you. So that's my first point to start with. And then indeed, events like ICEF Digital, webinars like this, articles not just on Monitor, but in general on LinkedIn, the internet, will then help you find the right solutions going forward.
Okay, so that's definitely very, very insightful. And again, I mean, I meet and I obviously speak to many agents who perhaps are small agencies, sometimes one person agencies. Obviously, a lot of these agents also come to ICEF events because they still believe in the face to face. In meeting schools face to face, so in the value of that, which
Yeah,
you guys have never, you've never said that that is not valuable. You've never said digital over face to face. It's
never.
always a combination. To these agents who are perhaps still struggling also financially, because that is another reality. And obviously when it comes to AI, the idea is always that, oh my gosh, it must be super expensive and it is
Yeah,
something that we can never afford.
yeah,
First of all, is it truly like that? And second of all, what can you tell,
yeah,
as a concluding comment, what can you tell these agents?
yeah. Well, yes and no. I mean, there are solutions out there that are extremely expensive. It's just like, when you buy a car, you have different options. You can get the most expensive option, but you probably don't need it. You need a car to get from A to B, and maybe you want a car that keeps you warm during the. I don't know. There's lots of um, tools you can use.
Features.
Yeah,
Yeah,
features.
yeah.
Now, the thing with AI and digital solutions is that they are all very rational tools and solutions. They lack the typical human qualities like empathy, like cultural awareness, morals, principles, feelings, and that is where the human factor comes in. The qualities that are so essential in our society and our community is the personal understanding, the personal contact. We are maybe concerned about how AI makes our industry less personal, less friendly, less human. Now, with AI and digital solutions, you can make the process faster. You can actually, save time, save costs, and all that time that you save allows you to actually add that human element, add the human element that allows you to respond to their hopes, their beliefs, to their personalities, to their comfort zones, to their future dreams, and it's actually bringing together the best of both worlds. You should look at the AI as your coach, your co-pilot, your supporter, your assistant, and that way we can keep the student at the center, and that way we can do as student group professionals what we do best and provide that personal and very human support. It's artificial intelligence, not artificial emotion.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
And I think on that note, Martin, you've summed it up beautifully. So I think if there are any questions from people who might be watching this webinar at a later stage, feel free, guys, to leave your questions in the comments section beneath this video on our different social media channels. And from our side, we will direct these questions at ICEF. And I believe you guys do have a team of people who can help. In this case, I mean, the focus today was mainly on agents, but for any questions that people watching this webinar might have, we will pass them on to you. And I know you have a team of people who can deal with this. So for those who are watching this video, feel free to ask us any questions. Obviously, you can always get in touch with ICEF directly. We'll be tagging ICEF in case you're not following them. Go and follow them. We'll be tagging ICEF on all the places where we will share this video. And obviously, you can get in touch with them directly if you prefer to go through those channels. And from our side, we will also, for the sake of those who were watching the broadcast and we got disconnected, this was indeed a technological problem. Unfortunately, I lost my internet connection for a few seconds. And when you are streaming live and you lose your internet connection, obviously the streaming stops. So basically, I was just concluding the broadcast. Unfortunately, in the meantime, I've lost the connection with Martijn as well. But I just wanted to remind you, because I think that is where the previous video stopped. I just want to remind you that for those who prefer to follow the article and who prefer to perhaps read about this interview, there will be an article on the Schools and Agents portal tomorrow, mid-morning, more or less. And this article will be a summary of what we discussed together with Martijn this evening. Together with the summary of our interview, you will also be able to watch the video once again. There will not be this part, but there will be all of the parts where Martijn was explaining was giving us his very insightful comments and sharing his expertise in the field. So all of that will be available for anybody who wants to watch this in a non-live manner. Once again, I would like to conclude this by thanking Martijn for today and for his wonderful contribution to the Schools and Agents live broadcast this evening, and I very much look forward to having him again on another broadcast where we will continue to discuss digital trends within international education. From my side, thank you very much for being with us this evening, and I wish you a lovely rest of the day.